Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into, well, maybe one of the biggest digital mysteries out there.
It's certainly up there, a genuine enigma.
We're talking about a figure who's almost mythical, but whose invention completely changed the game for finance, for tech, even how we think about trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's unpack this. The enigma that is Satoshi Nakamoto.
The name itself sounds like something out of a novel.
Right. The anonymous creator, or maybe creators, we still don't know for sure, of Bitcoin and blockchain, the tech underneath it all.
A whole system built by, essentially, a ghost.
Exactly. But, this deep dive isn't just going to be us throwing darts at a board trying to guess who Satoshi is. That's been done to death.
Right. It's more interesting than that.
We want to understand what Satoshi represents, and maybe even more importantly, why the fact that they stayed anonymous is so critical to everything they built.
Yeah, the anonymity itself is almost part of the design.
We do have some clues, though. Intriguing breadcrumbs. The famous white paper, of course, loads of forum posts, and even, like, a secret message hidden in the very first block of Bitcoin.
What's truly revolutionary, and maybe this is the core of it, is that Satoshi didn't just build a technology. They built a critique of traditional finance.
Say more about that.
Well, they basically materialized a whole new way to think about trust, decentralized trust right from scratch. So our mission today really is to sift through the verifiable stuff, the writings, the code, the timing, the historical context.
The actual evidence.
Exactly, to try and grasp the mind or minds behind this digital revolution. And crucially, for you listening, we want to separate the solid facts from all the wild speculation out there.
Yeah, because there is a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
So let's start there. What are the undeniable facts? What did Satoshi definitely leave behind before vanishing?
It really kicks off formally in October 2008. That's when the document dropped.
The legendary white paper. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Yeah, posted under the Satoshi Nakamoto pseudonym on a cryptography mailing list. And what struck people immediately was how clear it was.
Super concise.
Right.
But packed with deep technical knowledge. Cryptography, programming, networks. It was all there.
It wasn't just theory. It was a practical blueprint, very focused.
And even before that, something else happened.
Right. A couple months earlier, August 2008, the website bitcoin.org was registered. Quietly.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't just an idea floating in the ether. There was a place for it.
It gave it an initial anchor point, yeah. A hub for information right from the get-go.
Okay, so white paper drops, website's up. But Satoshi didn't just, drop the mic then. They stuck around for a bit.
Oh, yeah. For about 2 years, from 2009 until late 2010, maybe early 2011,
Yeah.
Satoshi was almost this guiding presence online.
Guiding how?
Painstakingly nurturing the project, explaining things to the very first adopters, debugging, refining. They were incredibly active on forums, P2P Foundation, the Metzdowd cryptography list.
How active are we talking?
Over 500 posts. Think about that. 500 detailed posts explaining, debating, guiding.
Wow. And what comes across in those posts, besides the technical stuff?
Patience, definitely. Meticulousness. But the big thing, the really striking thing, is this constant, firm commitment to decentralization. Meaning Satoshi actively resisted becoming a central figure. They didn't want to be the leader. There was this clear aversion to central control, even if that control was their own.
So build it and let it go.
Pretty much. The idea was the system should stand on its own, totally independent of whoever created it.
Yeah.
That principle was baked in from day one.
And that wasn't just talk, right? It was in the code itself.
Absolutely. In early 2009, Satoshi didn't just release the first Bitcoin software client. They mined the very first block. Block 0, the Genesis block.
This is where that message comes in.
Exactly. Embedded right there in the Coinbase transaction of that first block was a line of text.
Which was?
The Times 03 Jan 2009 Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Whoa. Okay, so that's not subtle.
Not at all. It wasn't just a timestamp. It was a political statement etched into Bitcoin's foundation.
Tying Bitcoin's birth directly to the 2008 financial crisis.
It tells you why Bitcoin was created, right there in block 0, a kind of defiance against the existing system.
Incredible. So they lay all this groundwork, embed this powerful message, and then what?
Then, almost as quietly as they appeared, they started to fade. The final known verifiable communication was an email in April 2011.
To who?
To Mike Hearn, one of the early Bitcoin developers. Satoshi basically said they had moved on to other things and that the project was in good hands.
And that was it. Poof!
That was it. Silence ever since. No verifiable messages. No transactions moved from those early wallets. Nothing. The architect just walked away.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what does this pattern tell us? The careful launch, the guidance, the message, the disappearance.
It really paints a picture of intent, doesn't it? These aren't just random technical steps. They show a strategic vision.
A vision for what?
For a system explicitly designed to outlive its creator, to be self-sustaining. Every verifiable action points towards decentralization, toward an anti-authoritarian viewpoint, especially regarding finance. It was engineered to be leaderless.
It's fascinating how much we can piece together just from what they did, even without knowing who they were. Let's dig into that a bit. What kind of mind does this? What does the work itself tell us about the person or people?
Well, looking at the white paper, the code, you're definitely dealing with someone, or maybe a small team, with serious skills, brilliant cryptographer, clearly, and a very competent software engineer.
It wasn't just academic theory.
No, not at all. The Bitcoin implementation was practical. It worked robustly. You can see their deep understanding of things like SHA 256 hashing, digital signatures, data structures, core stuff.
And it wasn't all built from scratch, was it? I remember reading that.
That's a key point, exactly. Satoshi's genius wasn't necessarily inventing every single component. It was more about elegant integration.
Pulling together existing ideas.
Precisely. Like using Adam Back's hashcash concept as the basis for proof of work, or leveraging ideas from peer-to-peer networks.
Yeah.
You know, like BitTorrent. It was this brilliant synthesis.
Taking building blocks that were already there and constructing something totally new with them.
Yes, that shows a real engineer's mind, someone who knows how to build practical systems.
Even the way Satoshi wrote is apparently a clue.
Yeah, people have done stylometric analysis. That's studying the writing style itself.
What did they find?
Researchers like Dmitry Kovatovich and Ivan Tikhonov, they analyze the posts, the emails, the white paper. The consensus seems to be a native English speaker or someone with extremely high native-level fluency.
And the style itself?
Very technical, precise, unadorned, almost clinical, focused purely on conveying information clearly. No fluff. It's almost like reading, well, code comments sometimes. Very direct.
This raises an important question.
Yeah.
What kind of philosophy drives someone to create something so technically precise, so focused, and then just give it away anonymously?
That's where you start to see the connection to a bigger movement. When you look at Bitcoin's design and Satoshi's own stated principles, especially decentralization,
Yeah.
it really looks like the culmination, or at least a major expression, of the cypherpunk movement from the 1990s.
Ah, the cypherpunks. Remind us.
They were a group of activists, technologists, cryptographers who believed strongly in using cryptography, strong encryption, as a tool for social and political change, primarily for protecting privacy and empowering individuals against, large institutions or governments.
And Bitcoin fits that mold.
Perfectly. It materializes that ideology. It's a system designed to let individuals control their own finances, to transact directly, peer-to-peer, without needing permission from or trust in banks, governments, any central intermediary. It's pure cypherpunk philosophy applied to money.
Financial sovereignty through code.
God.
Okay, so we have this profile. Brilliant cryptographer engineer, skilled synthesizer, precise writer, likely native English speaker, deeply rooted in cypherpunk ideals. Now, let's get into the part everyone loves to speculate about, the identity theories. Who might this person be? We should stress again, right, none of this is proven.
Absolutely critical caveat. Purely hypotheses, some more plausible than others.
So who's usually top of the list?
Often, it's Nick Szabo.
Right, why him?
Well, Szabo is a cryptographer, a legal scholar, involved in digital currency ideas for a long time. Crucially, he designed something called BitGold years before Bitcoin.
A precursor.
A direct conceptual precursor, yeah. Many ideas in BitGold are strikingly similar to Bitcoin's, plus his writing style, his known technical expertise, his philosophical leanings. It all lines up quite well. He's a very compelling candidate for many researchers.
Yeah.
But Szabo himself has denied it, repeatedly and clearly. So, while the circumstantial evidence is strong, there's no direct link, and he says no.
Okay, who else is frequently mentioned?
Hal Finney, another heavyweight cryptographer.
He has a special connection, doesn't he?
He does. Hal Finney was the first person ever to receive a Bitcoin transaction directly from Satoshi. He was also one of the earliest contributors to the code after Satoshi released it.
And there was that weird coincidence, too.
Yeah, the geographical thing. Finney lived in the same small town in California for a while as a man named Dorian Prentice Satoshi Nakamoto.
Who was briefly and mistakenly outed as Satoshi by Newsweek.
Right, a bizarre coincidence. But Finney also always denied being Satoshi, and sadly, he passed away in 2014. Looking back at the timelines and their interactions, it seems very unlikely he was Satoshi, though he was clearly crucial in the earliest days.
Okay, so Sabo and Finney are plausible, maybe, but denied it and lack proof. Then there's the opposite case. Someone who claims to be Satoshi.
Ah, yes. Craig Stephen Wright, an Australian computer scientist and businessman.
What's his story?
In 2016, he came forward very publicly, claiming he was the main person behind Satoshi Nakamoto.
And the proof.
Well, that's the problem. He hasn't provided any irrefutable cryptographic proof, the kind of proof the community would accept, like moving some of the Bitcoin that Satoshi mined back in 2009 or signing a message with Satoshi's known private keys.
He hasn't done that.
No. He's offered various demonstrations and documents, but they've been widely disputed, picked apart, and generally discredited by cryptographic experts. The consensus in the technical community is pretty strong that his claims aren't credible.
So, self-proclaimed, but lacks the definitive proof.
Exactly.
What about the idea that it wasn't one person at all? The group theory.
That's another common hypothesis. The argument is basically, look at the sheer range of skills needed.
Cryptography, C+ coding, economics, network theory.
Right. It's a lot for one person to master at such a high level. So maybe Satoshi Nakamoto was a pseudonym for a small team who collaborated on the project. It would explain the breadth of expertise.
Makes sense. But what's the argument against it being a group?
Two main things. One, the consistency. The writing style, the coding style, the overall vision presented in all those hundreds of posts. It feels remarkably consistent, like one voice.
Hard for a group to maintain perfectly.
Very hard. And second, the secrecy. For a group to collaborate on something this big and maintain absolute anonymity with no leaks, ever, that requires an incredible level of discipline and coordination, maybe bordering on unbelievable.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Why is it so hard? Why can't we just nail this down? And what does that difficulty itself tell us?
It tells us Satoshi was incredibly careful. They understood operational security, cryptography, anonymity techniques. They practiced what they preached, essentially.
So summing up the identity hunt, where do we land?
Based purely on the publicly available evidence, the strongest hypothesis probably still points towards a single individual or maybe an extremely cohesive small group. Someone with that deep crypto knowledge steeped in cypherpunk culture, likely active in the right time frame, 2008, 2010.
And probably English speaking.
Likely Anglo-Saxon or with that level of fluency, yes. And if you had to pick the most academically fitting profile based on skills and prior work, Nick Szabo still looks compelling despite his denials. But again,
No definitive proof.
zero definitive proof, and that's the crucial takeaway for you listening. Treat any claim about Satoshi's identity with extreme skepticism unless it's backed by that cryptographic proof signing with the keys. Until then, it's all just speculation.
Which leads perfectly into the next big question. Why does the anonymity even matter so much? Is it just a fun mystery, or is it actually important for Bitcoin itself?
Oh, it's incredibly important. You have to see the anonymity not as an accident or oversight, but as a core design feature. It was almost certainly deliberate.
A feature? How so?
Think about the implications. By remaining anonymous, Satoshi completely removed a central point of failure or control.
No figurehead.
Exactly. No CEO, no foundation head, no single person who could be pressured by governments, arrested, sued, or corrupted. It prevents legal and political attacks focused on the creator.
And it ensures the system stands on its own.
Absolutely. Bitcoin's legitimacy and function don't depend on Satoshi Nakamoto's continued presence or approval. The power isn't in a person. It's embedded in the protocol, in the mathematics, in the network itself. That separation is fundamental to Bitcoin's resilience and its whole decentralized ethos.
So what does this all mean? If the person isn't the point, what's the true legacy here?
The true legacy isn't the mystery man or woman or group. It's the work. It's Bitcoin and the blockchain.
The what, not the who.
Precisely. We get caught up in the detective story, but the real aha moment, the genius, wasn't just one single invention. It was that synthesis we talked about.
Combining existing ideas.
In a completely novel way to solve a really hard problem. The double spending problem.
Yeah.
How do you prevent someone from spending the same digital money twice without needing a central authority like a bank to keep track of everything?
Which people thought was impossible, right?
Pretty much. It was a major hurdle for digital cash ideas for decades. Satoshi's combination of proof of work, time stamping, the peer-to-peer network, that was the breakthrough. That allowed for truly decentralized digital cash. That was the game changer.
So the tech is the legacy. But Satoshi's become more than just an inventor, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. Satoshi Nakamoto is now an icon, a cultural symbol.
Symbolizing what?
Rebellion against opaque traditional finance. The promise of individual financial control, self-sovereignty, the power of, pure ingenuity from potentially just one person or a small group to fundamentally challenge the status quo. The mystery itself feeds into this. It protects the project from being tied too closely to one flawed human narrative.
It keeps the focus on the idea.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it feels like, well, the identity puzzle is fascinating and maybe it'll never be solved. But the impact of Satoshi Nakamoto, that's undeniable. It's already reshaped so much and will likely continue to shape our digital world for a long, long time.
No question about it. And this raises an important question, maybe a final thought for you to chew on. What would actually happen if Satoshi Nakamoto did reveal themselves today? Imagine that headline.
Whoa, yeah, what would happen?
Well, first, the immediate chaos. Think about the legal and financial side. Satoshi is estimated to hold, maybe over 1 million Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Mined back in the very early days when it was basically worthless.
Which is now an astronomical amount of money.
Billions. The tax implications alone would be staggering. Global security concerns. Governments would be very interested. It would be a massive, messy situation.
And beyond the money, what about the idea itself?
That's the other huge issue. You'd have this tension between, finally solving the historical mystery versus potentially damaging the myth.
How could it damage it?
What if the real Satoshi turned out to be controversial, or had opinions people didn't like, or tried to exert influence over Bitcoin's direction? Right now, Bitcoin's power lies partly in its leaderlessness. Putting a face, a specific human being with flaws and opinions onto Satoshi could fundamentally change how people perceive the network. It risks re-centralizing the narrative.
Making the protocol vulnerable to the human element it was designed to avoid.
Precisely. So maybe the mystery is functional. Maybe it's necessary.
So in the end, revealed or not,
In the end, whether we ever know the name or names behind the pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto's legacy is secure. It's the archetype of the anonymous, disruptive innovator, someone who emerged from the digital shadows to fundamentally challenge and redefine something as core to society as money itself.
a testament to the power of an idea.
Exactly. Sometimes the most powerful presence is an absence. And that's definitely something we're thinking about.